on the new earth,
there will be infinite coffee.
Infinite coffee. I think
space travel. Wouldn't that be cool?
Space Force. We think about the new heavens and the new earth and the idea that God is making all things new. It introduces hope to us for our living now.
I was hoping that we would still have preaching.
The best starting place for understanding what God's eternity will look like is by looking around us.
Like that bad understanding of the new heavens and the new earth comes from a bad understanding of worship.
This is where, as Christians, we miss it, is the idea of...
Well, hello and welcome to the Christ Confessors Podcast. My name is Nathan Jacoby. I am joined once again by my pastor, Joshua Fields.
And I'm wearing the same thing.
You're just wearing the same thing. It's crazy how we do that.
It's crazy.
I think it's a testament to it's a new episode, but we're wearing the same clothes, and that is a reflection of the new creation, new heavens and new earth.
Oh man, that's really good.
You got to tie it in.
Tie it in, yeah. New heavens, new earth.
Yes.
Same but better.
Yes.
Right. I love it.
On this episode, we are concluding our series that we've been doing on eternity and the afterlife, so to speak. And so today we are going to bring this to its consummation in the new heavens and the new earth. We're gonna talk about this understanding, and so I'm gonna go ahead and read the primary passage of this, and then
I'll jump in.
Yeah. Then you could jump in. So, Revelation 21 verses 1-5 says, "Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and first earth had passed away, and the sea was no more. And I saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, 'Behold, the dwelling place of God is with man. He will dwell with them, and they will be his people, and God himself will be with them as their God. He will wipe away every tear from their eye, and death shall be no more, neither shall there be mourning, nor crying, nor pain any more, for the former things have passed away.'"
Verse 5 isn't there.
Oh, you're right.
Let me pull up verse 5.
I'm pretty sure I copied this from your notes on your sermons, so if verse 5 is missing...
I got it. I pulled it up. Verse 5. "And he who was seated on the throne said, 'Behold, I am making all things new.'" Write this down, for these words are trustworthy and true. Okay, yeah. So, great story. Back in, I don't know, it's probably the late 40s, early 50s.
Okay.
There was a Norwegian scientist who took these massive Norwegian rats, and this is back when you could do interesting experiments on animals. And so he took these big buckets of water, filled them up to the top, and he would throw these rats in to see how long they could swim until they would drown. And literally, if he threw a rat in, they would drown in a couple minutes, 2-3 minutes tops. And these were like ruthless, massive rats. So as they continued the experiment, they would throw the rat in, and then right before the rat would begin to sink, they would pull the rat out just for 10, 15 seconds. And then they would introduce the rat back into the water. And literally what they saw on average, these rats who were pulled out just one time and then inserted back in the water, they would swim for up to 60 hours.
That's crazy.
From 2 to 3 minutes to 60 hours. And the point is, it's the idea is hope, right? When hope is inserted into the heart, now of course these are rats, inserted into the mind of rats, or inserted for us into the heart of man, it changes everything. And I think when we read Revelation 21, 1-5, and we think about the new heavens and the new earth, and the idea that God is making all things new, it introduces hope to us for our living now.
Yes.
We talked in previous episodes of, one of the common misunderstandings about God's eternity, about heaven, is that we just can't comprehend it. But as we read Revelation 21:5 and other passages, as we've discussed, what we find is there's actually a lot of continuity between this life and the next. In fact, one famous author has said something like this: the best starting place for understanding what God's eternity will look like, the new heavens and the new earth, is by looking around us. Like, look around you, and that is kind of the starting point for understanding what our life in eternity will look like. And that's just so important because that's what breeds hope.
Yeah.
And so two thoughts around the new heavens and the new earth. The first thought is when we think about it, we need to think new. Okay, we need to think new. So that's the idea of redemption.
Yeah.
Our bodies, we're going to have new bodies, redeemed bodies. They will not be burdened by sin anymore. What did it say?
The former things have passed away. There will be
Yes.
he will wipe their tears from their eyes. There will no more be death, nor mourning, nor crying, nor pain.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's new in regards to the elimination of the
Sin and
former
its
things.
consequences.
Yeah.
Sin and its
The
consequences.
curse.
The curse. Yeah. The lifting of the curse. So the curse will be lifted. I think that's in Revelation 22, verse 3. No longer will there be anything accursed, but the throne and the Lamb of God will be in it, and his servants will worship him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of the first idea when it comes to the new heavens and the new earth. It's a new place. We have to think new. Those things will be gone, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Which is just incredible. The ailments we experience in this life, the relational tensions we undergo, the hardships of work and labor, the sadness of death, all those kind of things are former. They pass away, and the curse will be lifted. So that's a great thing about the new heavens and the new earth, and that's what's going to mark it. But the other thing, and this is where I think as Christians we miss it, is the idea of continuity.
Yeah.
The idea of
sameness,
right? So the new heavens and the new earth will be like this place without all the things, without all the sin. That's what I mean by things. Without all the sin, without all the struggle, without all the hardship. And so there will be continuity from this life to the next life with our bodies and other things.
Yeah. Well, I think that there's we see this kind of dynamic in Christ and his resurrection. And we have a hope in ours that whenever Christ was raised, at first he wasn't recognizable to the disciples. They were like, who is this person? He's acting kind of weird, but also a little familiar. But then eventually it clicks.
They thought he was dead?
Well,
Part of that.
Yeah, it's like, surely it's not him because he died. I saw it.
Yes.
But so...
And he looks really good.
Yeah, and he's like, that's not what he looked like last time I saw him. But yeah, so I think that he's new in that they didn't even recognize him really at first, but then there's a familiarity. There's this is him. And I think that that's our expectation for ourselves, that we will be made new, but we will be us.
Yes.
And so the new heavens, the new earth, they will be new, but they will be they will be heaven and earth. So there's that continued continuity. And so, yeah, there's the dynamic of new and same there.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, I think all of us, if you're listening to this podcast, you would agree that, if you got a raise next month, you would be pretty excited about it, right? Like, hey, I just got a 10% raise. That's amazing. I'm super happy. And we have a reason that we're happy about that raise. And the reason is because we know what money gets us, right? The more money we have, the more things that we can enjoy and do. We can go on that vacation, or we can buy that thing we've wanted to buy. It's because we understand our relationship to money that a raise would make us happy. And then the same is true with the new heavens and the earth. The reason it makes us happy, the reason we can long for it, is because of this continuity, that it breeds this hope. And I mean, we read passages in Scripture like Hebrews 11, verse 16, and it talks about heaven as a country with cities.
Yeah.
And we understand what a country is. A country is made up of people and laws and regulations. It's, ours is broken into states. We know what cities are. Cities have streets and buildings and, again, people and parks.
Community and society and businesses and things like that.
Yeah, commerce and travel, all those things. And so there is going to be continuity between those things and the life to come. And understanding that really changes, it can really shift your desire. I don't know, just the like, I don't want to go there because I'm going to sit around and sing to the Lord around a campfire forever.
Yeah.
You know, I just like when we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we'll know less days to sing God's praise until since we first begun, or something like that.
Yeah, well, and I think
so. Like,
I think
we're just going to sing forever,
right?
It's gonna be a church service.
Exactly. I think that
which, by the way, I do think we might have.
I
services.
hope we have to. Yeah. Trent and I had talked about this after church one day, that I was hoping that we would still have preaching.
Who knows? Why not?
Yeah, why not? But no,
in season and out of season, you got to preach the word.
Well, and so I think that there's all of that comes from, like, that bad understanding of the new heavens and the new earth comes from a bad understanding of worship.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
So
good.
the word worship in the New Testament is, well, actually also in the Old Testament, is closely connected, or even can be used for the word service. Right. So worship isn't just standing around singing, it is serving God.
Yeah.
And so that means that we have a work, right? I think Adam's worship was the command for him to worship was to work, to cultivate the garden.
To tend to keep it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that our worship will be continuous forever worship and glorification of God, but it will be more than just standing around singing.
Yes.
It will be, or just listening to God preach the whole time, which is what my wife used to think it was. And she was like, it's going to be sad because we're going to be way at the back, so we're not even going to get to talk to God because we got there late. Whenever she was a kid, like, she
of course,
still believe this, but she didn't want to go to heaven.
So interesting, the
because,
images you have in your mind about what that's going to look like. Yeah.
But so I think that there's our work is a form of worship. And that should be the case today, but will definitely be the case in the new heavens, the new earth.
Yes, because in the new heavens and the new earth, there's not going to be competing desires. And I might be getting ahead of myself, but there's not going to be competing desires. So, like, right now, when you work, or right now when you play or you pursue leisure, there's competing desires, meaning that we don't always work and we don't always play and we don't always pursue leisure in a way that glorifies God for the sake of bringing Him great glory. And so work from time to time can become an idol.
Yes.
I don't know if you've ever experienced that. And so can play, and so can pleasure. But on the new earth, in heaven, it won't be that way.
Yeah, we won't have
all
the
those
sin
things
nature
will.
to...
Yeah, all those things will fulfill worship.
Yeah.
It will be an act of worship without any kind of competition between God and the thing. The thing will always serve God. The pursuit will always serve pleasure in God.
Yeah.
And never take away. It'll always magnify it. So that's exciting.
Yeah. Well, and it plays into the new and same, that we
same,
still have work, but it is renewed in its, the part of the curse was God cursing Adam's work.
Yes.
And that curse will be lifted. It will be a pleasurable work. It'll be a work unto the worship of God, and will be fruitful beyond what we even understand now.
Yeah. And so there are trades in our world right now that are evil.
Yes.
And those trades will be
those
gone.
fallen work.
Yes. There will not be abortion clinics.
Yeah.
There will not be
prostitution,
sex trade.
Yes.
People feeding off the poor, and those things will be gone, right? But there will be trades on the new earth in heaven. I think
space travel. Wouldn't that be cool?
Space Force. There'll be trades, right?
Yeah.
And like there's the parable of the talents, and Luke has another version of the parable of the talents where Jesus talks about, you've been faithful over little, I'll make you faithful over much. In Luke's rendition of it, it's you've been faithful over little, I will put you over cities. Or you've been faithful over much, I'll put you over 10 cities, 5 cities, 2 cities kind of thing. And so the idea is, even on the new earth, this one of the rewards of being faithful in this life is that there will also be leadership, right? If we're going to be cities and countries and, and all those kind of things, people are going to need to be led by other people. And I think part of that is going to be connected to the faithfulness of your walk with Christ in this life, and how that
and your humility
and your humility,
because those that the
who's the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?
Those. Gosh, I can't remember what it is, but Christ talks about those that are least in the kingdom of heaven, those that are greatest in the kingdom of heaven, like that will play itself out, perhaps in a hierarchical structure, which of course. Even the lowest place in heaven is a vastly blessed place that is way better than here. And we're saying heaven, generally speaking, new heavens and the new earth. But nevertheless, there very well may be a place for hierarchy. And I think that's what we see in Scripture. We're
going to reign with Christ.
Yes, yeah. Like 2 Timothy 2:12. If we endure, we will also reign with him. If we deny him, he also will deny us. There's an anticipation to reign with Christ, to subdue the earth in a unfallen, resurrected state for eternity.
Do you think the new earth is going to be bigger than our earth?
I have no idea.
A student asked me that years ago, and I was like, I don't know. But I did hear something interesting. I don't know if it's true, so don't quote me on this.
Okay.
But you could fit the entire world population in the state of Texas.
Yes. I've heard that too.
Yeah. So I don't know.
We got plenty of room.
Yeah. So, and again.
Also space travel.
Yeah, and space travel. And narrow is the way that leads to life.
Sure.
Broad is the path that leads to destruction.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
Yeah, but I'm a post-millennialist, so that we have. I have hope.
Nathan thinks broad is the way that leads to life. Apparently, I'm just gonna quote Jesus.
Yeah, that's not. We're not gonna go there. That, like you said, we need to have a roundtable discussion about that, which would be probably way too long, but would be immensely.
It could be a special episode.
It would be very enjoyable.
Special 4-hour
It would probably
episode.
need to be either a very long live stream, which I don't think we have the infrastructure for, or it would need to be a series of episodes.
There you go.
Anyways, I do love that idea. We should totally do it. Anyways, yes. So our there's newness, sameness. Reigning, hierarchy. That's true,
Work.
but it's a good. Like there won't be oppression. There won't be lording over people. Yeah, work is same but different. Go ahead.
One of the things that I think we'll experience on the new earth, I'll say it this way: in heaven on the new earth. That's a great way to think about eternity. In heaven on the new earth.
Yeah, there's a unity between heaven and earth.
That's exactly right. So, talking about desires, we talked about that earlier. So I do believe in heaven on the new earth, we will have desires. Like this morning, I woke up and I made a cup of coffee and I wanted coffee. And I made the coffee and then I drank it all and it's all gone now and I'm sad about that. But on the new earth,
there will be infinite coffee.
Infinite coffee. We'll want coffee and then we'll drink it. We'll actually want it. We'll desire to work, and then we'll fulfill that desire because desire is a good thing, right? Wanting things is a good thing. So we'll want those things, and we'll want the things for all the right reasons, and then we'll do the things or pursue the things. We'll want to travel into space, possibly.
Definitely.
And then we'll do it. So just know that it's not going to be a place where everything is like wallpaper, right? Because we think about heaven and we're like, there's moral perfection. That just means like everything is perfect.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And like I am as good. Absolute conformity, unity. I'm as good at basketball as LeBron James. I'm as this as another person, and I don't think that's going to be the case. Yeah. I think people
skills to develop and
Well, I think we'll learn.
I'll finally get good at drumming.
No, you already are. I also think we're going to know people. Yeah. I do a lot of funerals, and I do think this is back to memory, that memory is basic to personality. And so we'll have knowledge of people on the new earth. I will remember you. We will be friends. We're friends now. We'll be better friends there because
infinite
coffee and no sin.
Yeah.
One of the things that when I was in student ministry that was asked of me all the time was about like our age and our beauty.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
That was a thing that just like on the new earth, what is it going to like? How old are we going to be? And like, we don't really know. You know, back in the day, in the medieval times, it was 30 or 33 because that's how old Jesus was when he was crucified. And today, theologians think in the mid to late 20s, so 27, 28, based on cell stuff and how cells start dying after a certain point. We don't really know. But one of the things, we're all going to be most likely of the same age, and we're probably going to be most likely young-ish, but we're going to appear to each other not that way. Okay, so let's just say on the new earth, we're all 27 years old. Okay, let's just give it an age, and we all have our new bodies, and we look fantastic. We feel fantastic. We look fantastic. It's gonna be great and amazing. Anyways, but like my daughter Anna Claire, when I relate to her in heaven, though we're both gonna be, let's imagine, 27. She will appear to me as younger, and I will appear as older because she's my daughter and I'm her father. And so though we will look the same age, and those kind of things, our understanding of each other will probably still be based on that memory, the memory of I am dad, and because I'm dad, I've always been older and wiser, and vice versa.
Well, yeah, and based on your whatever age you are, changes your perception of how old other people are.
Yes.
Right? So whenever I was 18, 30 was like crazy. And now I'm 30 and I look at 18-year-olds and I'm like, you're crazy.
You're crazy.
And so, I think that
I'm crazy. We're all crazy.
Yeah. So it depends on your perspective. So I think that there's something to that there might be, just because you know this person, you know their age, that they're older than you.
You'll experience them as. I think so. I don't think.
Interesting idea.
Yeah. Who knows? It's all speculation, right?
Yeah. So
same
all
and
of
new.
that, same and new.
Same and new.
And I think so. We touched on this already a little bit in talking about worship, but I think that the core understanding, as you've said, we've called it God's eternity.
Yeah.
That the focal point, that all of these things will be good. We won't cry. We won't have pain. We won't have difficulties. Sin will be no more. All of that points a direction. There's a purpose behind it, and that purpose is God, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Our whole purpose in that is we are to be to the praise of His glorious grace for all of eternity. So He will be glorified, we will be pleased, and our pleasure will glorify Him more.
Yes. Augustine, you named your firstborn son.
Yes.
Firstborn son.
Firstborn son.
Son. Not your firstborn.
Not my firstborn.
Not your
firstborn son.
Augustine, after Augustine. Saint Augustine. And he said, our hearts are restless until they find rest in thee. And so, the centerpiece of heaven, the thing that makes heaven on the new earth heaven is God's presence. We were in Genesis 1, Adam and Eve walked in the cool of the garden and enjoyed the presence of God without sin's barrier. And so Revelation ends with the idea that we will see His face, right? And we will be with Him forever. And so that really is the desire of our heart. It's why has mankind invented God after God after God through the ages? Because they've wanted God. And they've just pursued the wrong thing. Money, fame, status, power, pleasure, you name it. And so on the new earth, we will finally be with God without the hindrance of sin. And that really is the great hope. So all these things surrounding us, our new bodies, our relationships, our work, our desires, animals, the glory of the new earth is going to be amazing. But what makes it amazing is the centerpiece, which is God Himself.
Yeah. That He will be, there will be no need of sun or lamp, because He will be the light, and we will behold Him, which is, the concept of beholding God is very foreign.
Yes.
Because we you see throughout the Old Testament that people aren't allowed to do that.
Yes.
And if they do, bad things happen.
Bad things
typically.
follow.
And even there's a delight in seeing God. There's a satisfaction in being with Him. The psalmist talks about thirsting for God, and so I'll
the old hymn, as the deer panteth for the waters.
So Psalm 63:1 says, "O God, you are my God. Earnestly I seek you. My soul thirsts for you. My flesh faints for you, as in a dry and weary land where there is no water." But in Revelation, God says in Revelation 21:6, "It is done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning of the end. To the thirsty, I will give from the spring of the water of life without payment." So that there's the desire that we have to be at peace and be with God for all of eternity will finally be satisfied, and He will be the one to give and to satisfy that greatest desire. That like you were talking about desire, that is the core desire of every human heart.
Yes.
It's twisted, it gets misplaced and put into the wrong direction, but our greatest desire is to worship God.
Yeah.
And finally that will be untwisted, it will be perfectly corrected and perfectly satisfied. It's going to be awesome.
It's
And
it's going to be amazing.
And so we talk about this and back to the rats a little bit, that this little piece of hope is so important and can cause incredible endurance.
Yes.
And so getting to the heart of the purpose of this podcast, to create those that confess Christ in every single situation of life, regardless of hardship or persecution or whatever, that's the goal, that's the purpose. And so this is our greatest hope, our hope of resurrection, our hope of eternity with Christ and with the Father forever. In the pleasure and love and communication with the Spirit, all of it together, that is our greatest hope. And it is that hope that gives us the endurance to confess Christ in every situation, and a willingness to lay ourselves down for Christ in every situation, so as to glorify Him and be with Him forever.
Yeah. It's the idea is, so you can endure the fiery trial now. You can persevere through suffering as you're comforted by God and God's promise to us. You can leverage then your life for the next life.
Yeah.
And to all those Christ confessors, that's the call, right? Leverage your 30 years, your 50 years, your 70 years for the kingdom that will last forever, for the God who made you, and for that desire that will be fulfilled if you truly confess Christ. And it will be fulfilled, and it will be satisfied, and we will get to delight in our Creator in a way that's amazing, and will fulfill all the brokenness that we experience in this life.
Yeah.
So
awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Christ Confessors Podcast. So go and have hope and live faithfully in that hope. Until next time, fear Christ more than you fear the world. Love Christ more than you love the world. This is Christ Confessors.